So today's video is all about overcoming obstacles in Apex Legends. So some of the biggest obstacles I think you can run in Apex Legends, especially since it is a team-based game, is that you're going to get random disconnects or people that leave the party. The other obstacle I think a lot of people are going to run into is having the wrong settings for their controller and how to handle late game situations when you're the only player left on your team. So first up is those random disconnects or people just leaving the match.
Oh, guy right here.
Yeah, he hit the jump. All right, he ends. That wasn't it. Well, that was it. Oh, that was it.
Bro.
I'm coming towards you guys, but I'm still
froze
like...
again, bro.
Yo, this Apex thing's lit, huh?
See, I haven't frozen. I froze once in like 5 days, and as soon as I start playing with JGOD, he doesn't freeze, but I do.
Yeah, I told you.
Pros?
Yeah, on the pro.
That's weird, then.
So at this point, we're thinking we're still in a pretty good spot. There's only about 12 squads left, so you're going to have to make some adjustments to your strategy. I'm not saying to camp per se, but you do have to play a little bit smarter and play a little bit slower. And that's not some kind of code for camp, because I would never recommend camping in a game like this. What I'd recommend doing is making sure that you choose your engagements wisely. And that could just be as easy as spotting to see if they have a full team. A lot of times people are going to roll in teams of 3 because you're able to respawn people. Obviously, someone disconnects, that's a one-off. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up running into a full team of 3. So typically, the smart thing to do is if you spot one enemy, look for the second, and then look for the third. And based off that information, it'll determine how you approach the rest of the fight. Because maybe you're going to use your specialist ability, maybe you're going to nade spam, or maybe you're going to focus on team shooting, sniping. Whatever the case is, you're going to build a strategy that will inevitably allow you to beat that other team. The other part that's incredibly important for you to do is to make sure that you're chasing down gunfire. So if you can hear it, you should probably head towards it. And that tip is going to apply to if you're in a party of 3, party of 2, or even just solo, because at the end of the day, if there is gunfire happening, that means 2 teams are engaged in a gunfight. That means you can come up, make a quick assessment of what's going on, and then third party that gunfight. Join in and decide where you want to attack it. That is the most opportune for you. And I think this is the part that a lot of newer players struggle with because they want to avoid those gunfights, but you're not actually going to get better at handling those scenarios until you get a lot of reps. And how do you get a lot of reps? You have to just play the game. When you hear those scenarios happen, you have to go ahead and push for them. And to be honest, that situation is a lot easier to handle than running up on a full squad that is at 100%. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how the controller settings are going to play a role on how effective you can be in the game. And it's unfortunately an obstacle I had to run into because I went ahead and changed my sensitivity right before this match started. And by the time I figured out it was way too low, it was a little too late. We were already in gunfights and it caused me to miss a lot of shots. So what you're going to see right here is my overall sensitivity is probably fine, but my aim down sight sensitivity, I moved it down a notch and it's way too low. Because there's a slowdown when you do aim down sight, if you're going to run a low aim down sight sensitivity, it's going to be very unforgiving for you if you did not snap onto the target in that initial aim down sight. Here's just the first example of it, but we're going to go ahead and run into it again once we get into this late game situation when it's only me versus 4 other squads, how I have to play the position the right way so that I can make sure I get the win. So I went ahead and fast forwarded just a little bit so you guys can see that my teammate gets knocked. And then I got to go ahead and figure out this situation over here because there's a team of 3 kind of camping up in this little area. But I want to try and make sure I know where all of them are. And I'm sure most of you guys can see how slow my aim down sight sensitivity is, that it's very hard for me to track this person. I did get hit, so I got to make sure I recover that health. That's something you always want to do. If you do have the opportunity to heal, make sure that you do heal. I am backed up. I do have a little bit of cover behind this thing. And then I go ahead and make sure I heal myself. And it's at this point that I decide to pick up my teammate's banner. I go ahead and go around the long way because I know that the enemies kind of have a lockdown on that area where they killed my teammate and then the guy shot at me. So I know there's 4 teams left, and in my head I'm already kind of marking it on the map where those guys are so that as I navigate around the map, I'm going to already have an idea, okay, they should be coming from that area. I did get shot at, but since I didn't get a hit, I didn't get a directional indicator where they're coming from. It didn't give me much information other than the fact that they could potentially be south. And unfortunately, by the time I reach my teammate, the banner disappears right in front of me. So now I got to clutch this up all by myself. I ended up wasting a lot of time with this little group in the corner. And since it was already a slow match, I do not have a ton of kills. But by playing strategically the rest of the match, I will get a few more kills and I'll be able to pull off that win for the team. So I go ahead and rotate, and all I'm doing is listening for gunfire because like I said earlier on, you want to identify where people are, and gunfire will do that. So right here you'll see me ping the map saying that, hey, there's a guy right there, and I was kind of communicating with my teammate, kind of walking through, hey, what do you think? We were kind of just talking through what should we do in this scenario. And then I go ahead and peek around, and I still know there's gunfire. I see a little bit of ammo. Go pick that up. And then I'm seeing if I could jump in on this third party. You can see that the guys are a little bit in the distance. I aim. They are running the other direction. I wasn't sure if he was low health. I do land a few shots, but in hindsight, I probably should have been using the hemlock since that is more of a long-range weapon. And right here, it's starting to look like everyone is moving to this south direction to get into the circle. And me, I'm thinking I need to get the high ground. I need to get better positioning on these people. And you can see while I'm doing this, someone's ultimate ability is going off in the background. So I know for sure 2 teams are engaged right there, but there's still a third team kind of peeking. You can see where the gunfire is happening. So there's actually a lot going on right now. I'm thinking that all 3 teams are there, and I'm going to be in the best scenario because they all look like they're on the low ground. I got to assess the situation and identify how I want to actually attack it. And scenarios very similar to this one pop up all the time. You just have to be able to think through it and identify what is the best choice of action, because inevitably you're going to make mistakes. You're going to hopefully learn from them, and to be honest, sometimes it takes a lot longer for certain players than it does for others. So the best thing you can do is try to learn from every loss and try to put the ownership on yourself. Did I play that wrong? Was my sensitivity too high, too low? Did I use the right loadouts? Did I use all my equipment to the best of my ability? Did I heal when I was supposed to? How did I actually handle the situation, and what could I have done differently to change the outcome? So again, you're going to see that low sensitivity strike again. I'm trying to aim down sight on this guy, line up the shot, and then it's so hard to track him. I do land a few shots, but it makes it very difficult when it's as slow as it is. So I change my position up a little bit, and then I start to hear gunfire. And once I hear the gunfire, I know, okay, now I got to position myself. Let me try and get a good line of sight, because I know that these are the final 2 squads. I have to approach this the right way, like I've already talked about, because if I jump in too early, I can make myself a target. And if I jump in too late, I can allow the enemy players to reheal themselves, so it makes it much harder for me to actually combat this. I end up aiming down sight. You can see how hard it is for me to track people. I could have probably been a little bit more actively involved in this gunfight. I do land a few shots here and there, but you can see I'm really struggling with this slower aim down sight sensitivity. I do line up the target, but to adjust, it makes it a little bit harder, especially if they have to move too far. I go ahead and break my line of sight, make sure I can heal, and then I know I'm going to be in a decent spot. The guy's probably not going to run up here. I'm listening for footsteps, and then I go ahead and decide to take a different angle. I know I want to call my ultimate ability so I can finish healing. I go ahead and throw it down there. I see a guy, take my shot, and you can see how low health he was, and that's because he's in engagement. He probably wanted to heal, and now we go ahead and cleaned up a couple people. So now I'm coming around over here. I know my right side and my flank is pretty much covered. They're still fighting it out. I hear the gunfight, making sure I'm full health, because that's the strategy that's going to work. And then I make sure I finish that guy off, because especially at this point in the game, a lot of people have those gold shields and will be able to revive themselves. Luckily, I'm able to clean up the last guy on that team. So there's only 1 squad left. I'm guessing there's probably 2 people trying to peek to see where everyone's at. I don't think anyone's going to come up the backside. I think the other part's cut off pretty much unless they have Pathfinder. And I'll let you guys see how it ends. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe for future Apex content. See ya on the next one.
Into the storm.
Yeah, what the hell?
That was weird.
Oh, he's right there.
Yeah, I can't get to him.
Oh, good shit. He clutched it. Let's go.
GG.
Let's go, man. GG.